Hi, I'm Doc Palmer. I'm the author of McGraw-Hill's best-selling reliability book, the Maintenance Planning and Scheduling Handbook. Maintenance planning and scheduling is a great opportunity, best practice to make your company a superior company. The first chapter of the handbook deals with this ugly thing called wrench time. Because we can increase wrench time, which you don't have to measure, it gives us a pop in work order completion rate to do more proactive work. Maintenance planning and scheduling answers the management question. How can we do more proactive maintenance to keep things from breaking when we have our hands full of reactive work? Well, you can do more proactive work if you get a pop in work order completion rate. And the first chapter of the book lays out the leverage and the math for that. But it doesn't just happen because you hire people to be planner schedulers. The second chapter of the book explains we have to run planning as a Deming cycle. We have to admit that nobody's perfect, plans are not perfect. The plans are giving head starts to qualified professional craftspersons that do the best they can, pulling in manuals and stuff that we didn't give them in the head start because we didn't know. They update the job plan so next time we can do a better job with more information and the little tips and stuff that we learn along the way. The making the job plans better over time, though, does not increase wrench time. Chapter 3 explains Parkinson's law, which is the amount of work assigned expands to fill the amount of time available. We have to give people enough work. So the third chapter of the book explains why we want to fully load schedules and expect lower schedule compliance. That'll help us complete more work than we would normally complete, but you might not have perfect schedule compliance. If you wanted perfect schedule compliance, just underload the schedule and do that work. But you're not fully loading the schedule to defeat Parkinson's law, and you don't complete more work. The fourth chapter of the handbook we're going to talk about today deals with reactive work. We would like to have no reactive work, then we don't have to worry about it. But we do have a significant amount of reactive work in our real companies. To begin with, doing planning and scheduling reduces reactive work in the first place. The quality of execution rises with this Deming cycle where we're working on something more intelligently. We know how to properly torque a crust gasket because we've done it incorrectly over the past, and we're learning better to take out the right parts and tools. So if we're working on something more intelligently, it should be more reliable, and that asset will run longer without failing. That decreases reactive work. And then the fully loaded schedules to defeat Parkinson's law helps us do more proactive work. Right away, your percentage of proactive work will go up, but you still have the same amount of reactive work. But as you're doing this extra proactive work, your reactive work will slowly go down as the proper and the increased proactive work gets in place to reduce that. You're properly greasing a bearing. You will have fewer bearing failures in the future, even though you're still having the bearing failures now that you did not grease properly a month or a year ago. So that takes a while to catch up. But we still have reactive work. So let's deal with that. First of all, during an emergency, we obviously don't plan that. We don't plan to have an emergency. We don't plan the work to fix the emergency. But planners are available to take a call. If they get a call from the maintenance supervisor, hey, we need help on this boiler feed pump, it's blown up, the spare's not working, what can you find for us? The planner will rush to the files and the computer and the data and call back. Make sure you take 2 gaskets. This is the wrench size you need. This is the impeller number. Let me know if you need anything else. So it's all hands on deck, but we want the planners to help with the data part. They're the best person to get in and out of the computer with information and stuff. We would resist them going out as an extra mechanic or an extra instrument tech. Although we would do that if we had to. It's all hands on deck. And that is not maintenance planning. Somebody called me once and said, if I plan to have a person out in an area where we have a lot of breakdowns so they are ready to go, is that planned maintenance? No, it's not. That's just a good idea to have somebody out there. But the planners are on call for emergencies. Now, there's another kind of reactive work. It's urgent. Generally, reactive work is work that can't wait till next week. You're reacting to it. You can't get your stuff together and get a better job plan together and stuff. So the emergencies got to be done now or maybe today. You can't wait. We're on call to help with that if we need to. The urgent work doesn't have to be done today, but it can wait till it can't wait till next week. So that's really my definition of reactive work. It can't wait till next week. Whether it has to be done now or sometime this week, it's still reactive work. Most companies have a policy where all that work just bypasses planning and scheduling because we don't want to get in the way of supervisors. But since a lot of that work exists, we hate not to take advantage of what we've learned over the years. So the way I like to approach planning urgent work, it's work that doesn't have to be done today but can't wait till next week, is just when that work shows up in the backlog. Say you have a pump valve, a pump job, a valve job, and a motor job suddenly show up in the backlog as urgent. The planner should call the supervisor. Hey, we have some new urgent work just came up. You've probably already seen it. One's a pump job, one's a valve job, and one's a motor job. Are you going to do those jobs today? Is the question the planner asks. And the supervisor might say, hey, we've already done the pump job and the valve job. We're about to start on that. We probably won't do the motor job today. Okay, great. Plan the motor job. Don't plan the jobs they think they're going to start today. Plan the jobs they think they're not going to start today. You know, you go look at the motor. Okay, this is the size of the motor. Looks like it's going to take 2 mechanics. I'm just guessing it's going to take 4 hours. Probably need the fuses for that type of motor. Get that together in a job plan today. Don't wait till tomorrow. So knock out a quick job plan. And it's not a perfect job plan. But the fact you've identified for sure it is electrical, maybe you're not even sure about that though. You think it's 2 electricians and you think it's 4 hours. That's a good job plan. And the professionals know how to work on stuff. And it gives them a work order. They can mark up, say, well, it's not the fuses. It was the fins were dirty, the shaft was affected, and some other stuff. That's great feedback. Make another job plan. So not only that, if a job won't start today, but it's urgent, can't wait till next week, in the file there might already be this great job plan that's been developed with a Deming cycle over the years. You can grab that and stick that on there. So then suddenly we have a job plan. So don't not plan the urgent work. Check with the supervisors if they're not going to do it today. Knock out a quick job plan. You might have a job plan already in place and ready to go. Now we don't want the supervisors to attach that existing job plan. They don't need to be on the computer. They need to be out on the field supervising and stuff. And then on the scheduling part, setting priorities is not an exact science. It's difficult for an operator sometimes to say, is that really an urgent job or can it wait till next week? I'm not sure. We'll just say it's urgent. And sometimes we're overwhelmed with urgent work and maintenance that is urgent, and we just can't get to all this week. So at the end of the week, pretty much all of us, we have some so-called urgent work, priority-wise, that's still in the backlog, and we're not going to do it this week. Well, I thought it was urgent. I know, but in the big scheme of things, we're not going to get to it this week. Okay, well, let's put it on the schedule for next week. You found out they weren't going to do it today, say on Tuesday. You knocked out a quick job plan. On Friday, it's still in the backlog. Doesn't look like they're going to do it today. Put it on the schedule for next week. Don't break the schedule next week for something you know about this week. Well, it's reactive. We let the bypass planning and scheduling so we don't get in the way of the supervisors. You're not getting in their way. You checked with them. They weren't going to do it today, so you planned it. They're not going to do it this week, so we put it on the schedule for next week. And then we can bundle. Hey, if we're going to work on the condensate polisher for this job, we probably will, since it's fairly urgent. Is there anything else we can do? hey, we're going to send a person way out there for this job that we need to do this week, but we didn't do it this week, we're going to do it next week. Is there anything else you can do while you're out there? That's one of the big services scheduling provides, is to bundle work orders. And we want to fully load a schedule 100% to defeat Parkinson's law. We want that schedule to be as credible as possible. So put the urgent work into it that we're not going to get this week. Bundle work with it. Have a better schedule for next week. Now, most all of that is these little nickel and dime, 2-hour, 3-hour, day-and-a-half maintenance jobs. Larger reactive jobs. Let's say you have a transformer go out. 10 or 20 hours and you got to order the transformer. It's reactive. You've got to get on it right away. Usually larger jobs involve contractors, and we get a larger job with that with a project manager. Might be the maintenance manager or a maintenance engineer. Planners might assist with that, but they don't normally lead that. And then usually smaller jobs that you are going to use a contractor for, the planner might arrange for that. And then when the contractor shows up, that's turned over to a supervisor. We have to be really careful about getting planners sucked into a project team. If you're a planner and you're planning for 20 to 30 people, you can't be on many projects. We want to get the day-to-day little maintenance jobs planned and scheduled. For the bigger jobs, if you're planning for fewer than 20 to 30 people as a planner, you can be on some project teams and help that. So don't just let the reactive work bypass planning. We want to run that Deming cycle to take advantage of getting what we can out to the craftspersons, collecting information, having better execution over the years. We want to fully load schedules with credible work, and there's a great opportunity because some of the urgent work doesn't get done this week. So we need to plan it, put it in the schedule where we can, and overall we'll do more proactive maintenance and reduce reactive maintenance to begin with. So it's my 2 cents. Thank you for letting me share. God bless, and we'll see you next time.